go out there and try to make the A main. If you don't, just go out and have fun. I'm like, well, that's the whole thing, was just to go out and have fun. But Shane Youngren, man, I got to give a huge, huge shout out to him, because he's an amazing person to have on your backside, to sit there and say, hey man, this is what I feel, what kind of setup should I put in this car, without even stepping foot in this car. He went out and caster cambered it, he right heighted it and everything else. And I mean, the car was fast. I think it was too fast for the setup. What I mean by that is that it actually, oh God, and I'll tell you the reason why. But Saturday night, I'm kind of jumping around. I'm sorry, I'm kind of excited about racing that Dwarf car. But 21 laps was the A-main event for these guys. And Jimmy Brinster, Guy Tal Sr., Shane Youngren, Guy Tal Jr., and running out the top 5 is the 18 of our sponsor that we sponsor, is Josh Rogers out of Longview, Washington. Now, mind you, Josh is friggin' fast. When he gets out and he gets some clean air, that 18 car of his is very, very, very quick.
You just mentioned some other quick names too, though. I mean, a top 5 in that company is you can't complain about that.
You can't, and those guys are literally door to door. They're tail to tail every single lap. It was a good race. It was an awesome race. But in like I said, Trophy Dash winner was Jimmy, and I mean he was awesome. Let's go into Sport Mod qualifying. Well, Sport Mod qualifying, of course, they don't qualify the hot lap. Of course, John Henry qualified with a 16.504. Micros was the Micro 600, of course, was Jeff Broadwell. Shane Youngren was a 15.786. In qualifying for the street stocks was Arnie Case, fast time of a 16.498. But let's go into the Sport Mod deal. This is kind of cool. So I put out on Moxie a little bit of shout out to some of the Southern Oregon guys about coming up and running Sunset. Now, it wasn't related to Sunset. It was just me personally on Moxie saying, hey, I challenge some of you guys to come up here. It kind of got some feedback by some people. Some people were like, oh, the fastest guys are up there, huh? And I'm like, nothing to hide, and it's not really nothing to hide. It's just trying to grow the sport. If everybody stays down south, well, that's, where it's going to be. But they're trying to travel, they're trying to make every single track around to try to have a sport mod class. There's so many cars out there from Portland Speedway, there's so many cars out there that are just minutes from being a sport mod. In
good sport mods,
just great sport mods, man, and we have some great field down in Southern Oregon, down at Cottage Grove. But we have a couple of the fastest guys and stuff up here of Michael Milton and John Henry. It's just to my opinion and stuff, that's who it is. Of course we got Chris Frisbee and stuff that does travel. He travels from Cottage Grove and he comes up here, and Chris has a very, very, very nice car, very fast car, and he's very competitive when he comes up, and his brother too.
Yeah, you look at those guys, you look at their cars, and you don't say that's a sport mod. I mean, that it does not look. When you look at it like that's,
I'll tell you what, it looked like a 4-bar car.
Yeah,
the way it drives.
I know it.
That thing is just, it's beautiful the way it drives. But Michael Milton's getting a lot of help from Kenny Miller, the 57 for the Budweiser IMC modified. It's just trying to calm Michael down once he gets into a pack and everything else. He's got that development now. It's easier to slow someone down than it is to make them faster.
When you slow that person down, they get faster.
That's right, and he's definitely onto something. He's taken a lot of notes. Same with John Henry. John Henry, man, has definitely taken a lot of notes. He's got some help from the Jenners and everything else, and he's got some help from some of the street stock guys that has made that car that much faster and stuff too. Literally those two are very, very hard to beat, especially even when they run together. It's literally whoever gets out front, that's who's going to stay out front, because they're so equal. They run each other's exact line. John Henry's more of a top of the track type guy, and Melton is more of a bottom feeder and stuff. But that's where he likes to run. That's where his cars run. Fast time, of course, was John Henry with a 16.504. A huge shout out to the 51 N of Jason Nelson. And a huge shout-out to the 01 of Daniel Ray, both from Southern Oregon down there at Cottage Grove, made the trip up. Very, very fast cars, very cool-looking cars. It was cool. Jason Nelson, this is the kicker, right? Never seen Sunset Speedway. Goes out there and wins a Trophy Dash.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a tricky place to race. I mean, you don't just show up on that little bull ring and go out and get yourself in the dash and win it.
Gets out there. I talked to him a little bit earlier and stuff too, and I sat there. I said, "Hey," I said, "How does it feel, man?" I said, "You're out here now, and you got some seat time and stuff, and you won a trophy dash." I said, "What is it going to take to to win the main event?" And he was just like, "Man," he says, "just pure luck." He says, "This is a very tricky track. It's not a huge momentum." A huge momentum track. It's definitely a driver's track. You have to drive this track. And I said, "Well, you said you coming back?" He says, "Absolutely." He says, "I'm going down there and I'm telling everybody if they don't come up here to Sunset, they're crazy."
See, and it's one of those things where drivers like that track because there's always action. You're always next to somebody. You've got somebody in front of you. I mean, it's bump and grind, and it's go time, and it will test you as a driver in your patience and all your abilities. I mean, that's one of those tracks where it puts you to the test behind the cockpit.
And that's the thing too, is that it does. It takes you and it takes the driver and it puts it into you. I mean, you go to some of these bigger tracks and stuff, and it's cool, it's fast and everything else, and you're kind of a wheelman, but you go to a small bull ring where you actually have to finesse the car, throttle control, brake control, trail braking, getting up on the bars, at the right moment, not slipping the tires, even though they run a 2-barrel, they still got enough horsepower that they're spinning the tires. I mean,
sure.
Hell, John Henry, for 4 laps was side by side with Michael Melton and was burning the tires off on the outside just to try to keep up with him. And then Michael would be on the outside and he'd do the same exact thing. I mean, it's that finesse of a track, especially when it turns dry slick. This was the cool part, is that we had a couple A-Mod guys that came down into the Sport Mod class. Some people are having an issue with that. Realistically, they ran both a mod class and a Sport Mod class together, and that is legal. IMCA states it's legal, and it is state. And I've looked at it, and I've actually called IMCA personally and asked, "Hey, can an IMCA Sport Mod run in an IMCA Budweiser modified class?" And they said, "Absolutely. You just have to have 2 licenses. You can run whatever car you want. You can run them in both classes." Now, an A mod can't, of course, drop down, but a Sport Mod can can go up. It's just like our pure stocks can race with the street stocks. They run a 2-barrel, they just change their tires. Some people are having a hard time with that. Hey, it's car count. Fans love it. IMCA says it's legal. They went ahead and did it. Cool part about it is Michael Melton went out there and was on a roll. Jason Nelson, very, very fast and stuff, and so was Pam Graham. Pam Graham came up.
She's the defending champion. That gal knows how to get around Sunset.
Right? She was very, very fast. Daniel Ray, he was the top 4. This is how the running order went at the very end of the race. So we had Doug Lockwood in the 66 Budweiser IMCA Modified just railing on the outside. It was hard for him to catch Michael Melton. Finally caught him with like 8 or 9 laps to go. Ran up on the high side, and Michael was right behind him and everything else. Literally 1 lap to go. Some sort of mechanical failure happened, and going into turn 1 on the last lap, just something happened to Lockwood, pulls him off, gives the lead back to Michael Melton, and Michael takes that victory. This is how the running order went. Michael Melton, Cody Jones was up there in the 62 car. He was quick.
Good run for Jones.
Pam Graham, Daniel Ray, Archie Summers was top 5. John Henry, Jason Nelson, and Doug Lockwood. Yeah,
now, let me ask you, that last lap when Lockwood had the mechanical failure and Melton was there on the bottom to capitalize. Let's talk about the reaction from the crowd, because that had to be. I mean, Lockwood's a favorite up there.
Lockwood is fans like him. He's a defending champion.
Multi-time champion. So he knows. He's one of the guys you got to beat when you go to Sunset. So for a young guy like Michael Melton, who decided to stay down in the Sport Mod just to get a little more experience, for him to go out and get that win.
He's got a huge fan base. The Melton fan base, just like you have Joey Tardio fan base, and in the street stocks and pure stocks, you have a bunch of fans and stuff for Archie Summer, or for Arnie Case, Justin Case and stuff like that. Michael Melton's fan base is huge, and when Doug Lockwood and stuff over there in turn 1 out of turn 2. Basically, kind of came to a complete stop and then just drove off the track. The whole grandstand roared. It was awesome to watch, and then to watch him, you can hear.
So well,
you can hear.
Now we're getting some feedback here from some of you guys. So
well,
it does sound a little tinny. They're saying, so we'll make a couple adjustments here on the board. We'll get this.
Let's see what we can do. Nope, that takes that. Sorry, guys. We're how about that?
A little more compression.
Compression's all the way up. Gain's all the way up. How about that? Can you guys hear us now? Let's see. I don't know what it sounds like in your headphones. Pretty good?
That sounds good in my phones. But, yeah. So back to this race. I mean, you got me all pumped up now.
Okay, so I don't know if that sounds. Let's see. How's that sound? 1, 2, 3.
Sounds clean.
All right, so yeah, we'll leave it at that. Give us some feedback there, Maverick. Let's see how we sound. Okay, so anyway, when it came down to it, is that the whole grandstands and stuff just erupted, and to have Michael Melton to be able to pass an A-Mod, well, and to keep up with one is very, very good. But having him to have another win there at Sunset and get more points for for that track championship, one between basically him and John Henry, is going to be huge. So how about this? Sorry, guys, we're still trying to.
Way better.
Way better. Look at that.
Okay, we've got the chassis dialed in. We can quit turning on the coilovers here, Josh.
Oh my God! All right, so we sound good. I think we sound good. Yeah, sound good. Okay. So anyway, let's get into the Jim Smithway 100.
Yes, I'm excited to hear this.
So,
this is a big deal.
Listen to this. This was awesome, man. Okay, so the owner of Jim Smithway, I believe his name's Mark. If I have it wrong, please let me know. But I believe his name is Mark. He was down there, turned 4. Cool guy.
I've met him. Fun guy.
Awesome deal is actually the Jim Smithway commercial that we play out there at Sunset. I made. We went down there and was actually playing on loudspeakers and stuff, and he was actually telling somebody, he says, that guy, that announcer guy would have made that. He says, that's the coolest SHIT. I almost did it again. He said, it's the coolest thing or whatever like that. He says, man, and some guy sat there and he says, well, how much that cost? He goes, I don't know, I'll probably give him a case of beer. And I looked down there and I tapped him on his shoulder. I said, well, can we do 2? And he looks over and he says, well, who are you? And I said, well, I'm the announcer. He goes, 2, we got it. He says, absolutely. And I'm like, no, man. He said, it was just cool, man. It's just awesome to be able to do something like that for him or whatever. But so check this out. This is, at 50 laps and stuff, we have a halfway point. But let's talk about the first 50. Don Jenner in the 8X and Matt Jenner. Now, we called Matt Jenner's car the rainbow car when he first showed up because one whole side of it's red, the other side of it's blue. And I went down there and I said, what's up with this? He says, that's all the sheet metal I had. I'm like, really? He said, he couldn't. He says, why spray paint? He says, it looks cool as hell. He says, it's one side's red. I'm festive. Like, all right, dude, it's all you, man. It's all you. But this is the coolest thing. Don Jenner with an old Portland Speedway car, dude, was fast out of the box, quick as hell. Was almost a half straightaway ahead of people by lap 5. I mean, he was that quick. The car was dialed in and set. Arnie K started top 5. The 74. This is a car to really watch out for. Was the 74 Andrew Legg and ran second at the start. All right. Arnie made it into second by lap 5.
Okay, stop right there. Let me ask you a question. At the time of the green flag, give me track conditions.
Track conditions and stuff were dry slick.
Okay.
All the way up to the cushion. And there was about a 4, maybe 4.5 foot cushion. The bottom had a little bit of moisture, about a foot, but it was dry slick. The weird part about it, though, it was a front and back stretch, tacky. Wasn't as dry slick as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now, just like anybody else or whatever, is that turn 1 and 2 is different than 3 and 4, entrance and exit.
Very much
It's
so.
a D-shaped track. When you're looking at it from the grandstands, you really can't tell that until you actually until you actually drive it. I really didn't get a chance because the only time I ever actually driving the track is here a couple years ago when Kenny Miller allowed me to go out there and test his car and is modified, and I'm like, hey, this is kind of cool. This is kind of tricky or whatever. But it's weird on how you can come up out of turn 2 and just keep the throttle down, and it feels like it's wanting to go to the wall, but you have that much more room. it's tricky.
Very odd shape out of turn 2 under that backstretch, but that's what makes Sunset so unique. I mean, it's
very tricky.
You got to be careful there too, because that place will snake bite you as well.
Yeah, damn right it does. It snake bite a couple people, especially if you ask Mike, our pit guy that stands there and allows the lineup and stuff to come out of the truck. Big Mike, he's had a couple times that he's had to dodge people this year.